Today, on What the Heck is Happening in HR, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the upcoming nominees under the Trump administration. He has nominated some people. One position, at least at the time of this recording, he has not nominated, but we will talk a little bit about that. We want to talk about those that affect the HR roles immensely, and we'll start and we'll have some follow up podcasts to this. But we're going to start with the Department of Labor and what's next. Thanks for coming to What the Heck is Happening in HR. For our podcast disclaimer, please visit the episode description. What the Heck is Happening in HR is all about the new administration and what that means for HR law and what that means for the Department of Labor carrying out the policies of the new president. So, in November of 2024, President Trump announced Republican Representative Lori Chavez-DeRemer of Oregon being his nominee to lead the U.S. Department of Labor. She was elected to Congress in 2022 and served on the House Committee of Education and the Workforce, and that conducts the oversight of the DOL. Wasn't sure you all knew that. So that's the House Committee on Education and the Workforce. She lost re-election in 2024. She has a small business with her husband, and she was mayor from 2011 to 2019 of Happy Valley, a suburb of Portland, Oregon. So, one of the reasons I want to be sure we know who these folks are is because their wants, their agendas that they've shown us could be where they're leading and where they're coming into policymaking. Now, certainly the policy will be established by the president, and she will be carrying that out if she is confirmed. But she is the only Republican to co-sponsor and one of only 3 Republicans to vote for Protecting the Right to Organize Act, which we call the PRO Act. And it is strongly opposed by business groups. I must admit, I was a bit surprised that she was the nominee, and I do plan to watch her confirmation hearings. So the legislation would amend the National Labor Relations Act, giving workers additional advantages when bargaining with employers and when organizing or joining unions. It also weakens very much, almost eliminating state right to work laws. And it really codifies a very strict employment classification that would make it hard for employers to use independent contractors. It had passed the House and the Senate Committee on Education and the Workforce, but not the Senate. And so, even with this position, President Trump nominated her, and we'll see what happens there. If she's confirmed, she's going to take over this agency, and it will be interesting to see just how she leads with that. Now, she has a deputy undersecretary or a deputy secretary, I believe they call him, under the labor secretary. They're the second in command. And President Trump has said that Sonderling is a person who he has, Keith Sonderling, Keith Sonderling has been nominated for deputy labor secretary. Now, he has worked in the previous Trump administration. He was actually one who set up a program which I had clients use, which was the Payroll Audit Independent Determination program. That was in the first administration of the Trump administration. It's called the PAID program. And it really was a self-auditing program that allowed businesses to make corrections without penalty in order to encourage them to make those corrections rather than just try to hide things. And so it really helped that program be able to take off. He was also have that background then in the Wage and Hour Division, but also with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. And one of the things I find intriguing with Keith Sonderling is his interest in artificial intelligence and how it works with labor and employment concerns. And so I think it's going to be very exciting to see where he falls and what he does and how AI gets raised, especially with the high tech influence that seems to be within the administration. Not a political comment, it's just what I'm seeing. And so I think it will be very interesting to see what that means. How will AI be this priority in the Department of Labor? So those are 2, folks that we need to keep our eye on and to be able to watch. And then the last one will be especially the General Counsel for the National Labor Relations Board. We certainly anticipate the current General Counsel, who's been very vocal and has really led the direction, it seems, at least from my seat, of the National Labor Relations Board, rather than advise and give counsel to the board itself. And so I certainly anticipate a change there. I don't know who would be in there, but I do anticipate a pretty quick change that will happen there. And then what will that mean? What will we see? Will quickie elections quit? Will we end up being able to go back and have more captive audience meetings? Will there be more scrutiny on employer statements during the union campaigns as there has been? And what's again it mean for independent contractors? There's also been a lot of conversation that's been going on, especially in 2023 with the National Labor Relations Board, talking about how are employee rights limited, especially around handbooks and workplace rules. So there's a lot to watch in that National Labor Relations Board secretary, general counsel position, but also what that will be for the board. Will there be commission changes? And then we want to watch those secretaries. The Secretary of the Department of Labor nominee, or perhaps by the time you hear this, is in place or didn't get confirmed. Wait and see. And then the deputy secretary, who will be in place after inauguration because he does not have to go through the nomination process. So we really appreciate you staying up to date with what's happening and what the future could be over especially the next 4 years relating to labor policy. And we really appreciate you subscribing to What the Heck is Happening in HR. Thanks for listening.